You're listening to the Battle Buddies podcast.
So could you walk us through the lessons that your coach, Carlos Valente, shared with you that sort of helped your journey to a jiu-jitsu black belt?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been lucky enough to have lots of different coaches in a lot of different martial arts. My main instructor is Hanshi Dave Kovar, but with jiu-jitsu specifically, a number of different coaches over the years: Casio Warnick, Carlos Valente, Pedro Sauer. The coach that I've been with probably for the last 12 years is Derek DeMano here in Elk Grove, California, under Waza Jiu-Jitsu. But at the time that I think you're speaking of, I'd got my white belt in jiu-jitsu in the year 2000. Got my blue belt in 2002. It took me 2 years to get my blue belt. And then it took me 7 years to get my purple belt. So I think I got my purple belt in 2009. And that was mostly because, I was only training like 1 day a week. 1 day a week, and I think I even took 2 years off, so it took a lot longer than it really should have, but, it is what it is. And so I was a purple belt for a couple years. I think it was like 2011, and by that time, I'd already seen a lot of the people that I started with get their black belt, and even though you're not supposed to compare yourself to others, it's hard not to sometimes.
Yep.
When you see people who are like, oh man, they're so much better than me, and all this kind of good stuff. And so Carlos Valente was coming down every 6 months to do seminars. And I remember we were in the locker room, changing before one of his seminars. And I asked him, I said, every time I go with, big guys, I always get crushed. I always get smashed. And, I'm not sure what to do. And, what technique should I try to do? And I was looking for him to give me some, secret moves or secret sauce or something like that. And he kind of just said, well, Nick, when you train every day, you try different things and you just, have a good time and you mess around. And I just kind of walked away like, what the heck does that mean? It doesn't mean anything to me. And 6 months, I asked him the same question, hey, how do I get better? And I keep getting crushed. And he said, Nick, when you train every day, try different things, try new moves. I walked away like, I don't even know what he's talking about, right? And 6 months later, he asked the same question. He gave me the same answer. But it wasn't until the third time he told me that I really listened to the words that he said. When you train every day.
Light bulb.
Light bulb moment for me. And I was like, I'm not training every day. All these guys that I'm comparing myself to, guess what they're doing? They're training every day, and I'm not doing that. I'm trying to look for some shortcut, for some, show me the secret moves, and I'll kind of learn those, and I'll beat everybody. There's no shortcut, and especially with jiu-jitsu, there's no shortcut. It's really the time that you spend on the mat. It's not how many years you've been a belt. It's how much time you're dedicating to it. So I grabbed a buddy of mine, Robbie, and I just said, hey, let's start training. I got to train somewhere with another human being every single day, Monday through Sunday. It doesn't mean I have to go 100% super hard, but at least I'm getting some practice, even if it's light. And I started getting a lot better really fast. And 2 years later, I earned my brown belt from Derek DeMano. And then 4 years later after that, I earned my black belt. And that was about 5 years ago.
Yeah. Would you say, side note, people listening right now, they're probably realizing just how terrifyingly long it takes. It was, 14 years, did you say, to get your black belt?
Well, so let's see. It was 5 years ago now. It's 2022. So 2017, I started in 2000. But I also took 2 years off. Okay. So it was probably, about 14 years.
14 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And most people hear that and they go, that's a really long time. What would you say to those people who are looking more at the massive commitment before them? How do you reconcile that? And also, how do you look at people committing with you as a help? As you said, you had your partner. What does that give to people, and why should they look for that as well?
Yeah, I think... this is something I was actually talking about with my son this morning, because he's really into cooking right now. He's like watching all these YouTube videos, and he's he's really into this like super famous chef. And I said, sometimes we look at people that are really talented at any particular area in life, be it martial arts or cooking or basketball or whatever, right? And we don't see the behind the scenes of the hard work and the dedication that it took that person to get there. And a lot of us have heard that concept of the 10,000 hour rule, right? And the 10,000 hour rule essentially is it's going to take you 10,000 hours to become kind of a master at any skill or endeavor. And so the biggest thing, I guess, to kind of answer your question is focus on the process and the journey, not necessarily the destination. And it's got to be fun. If it's not fun, then you're not going to last through those hard times. And know what your purpose is. I see a lot of people that will start and stop a lot of different things, but the people that have that longevity towards martial arts or whatever it may be, whatever activity or skill that they're going after, they really know what their why is, what their purpose is. And I know for me, it's definitely changed a lot over the years, right? It's a lot different from when I was 9 compared to when I was 19 to now when I'm 41. My purpose has changed, but knowing what that purpose is one of the things that can kind of help me get out of bed and say, I got to train today, even if I don't feel like it, because this is the reason I'm doing it.